Yeah.
Welcome to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols. The dynamic duo is back. NBA insider Amin Elhassan, 2003 NBA champ Stephen Jackson. You awake? Do we have to?
I'm good.
You're good?
I'm ready to go. We already recorded a podcast this morning.
Oh,
Black
dude.
Opinions Matter. Check it out.
And time for a plug. All right, I realize a few of you may have been watching the Masters yesterday or trapped under something heavy. Maybe you lost your phone. Someone stole it. So just in case The Jump is here for you, this is what Russell Westbrook did last night.
Adams gives it back to Russ. Deep shot. Get it! What a perfect ending to a historic day. Westbrook gives the Thunder the victory at the buzzer.
Can we go slow-mo on his celebration afterward, right? I mean, there are Olympic hurdlers who can't pull off that height.
High jump.
And that basket officially knocked the Nuggets out of the playoffs, which would explain the looks on some of the faces of the fans. Let's zoom in and examine this still photo, shall we?
Shout out to
There's
Jade.
this gentleman who either is very upset or perhaps just answering back.
yes.
Head in hands, I'm just going to drink away my troubles guy. And then
worry.
there's this little kid who just can't believe it.
Oh, come on.
I mean,
That's
come on. The rest of us are annoyed that someone has enough spare cash. A little kid is sitting courtside. But that is a whole different issue, people. Now, Russ had already earned his 42nd triple-double of the season earlier in the night, which, of course, officially broke Oscar Robertson's record. But it should also be noted that final bucket gave Russ his 50th point, making it his third 50-point-plus triple-double of the season, more than any other player in NBA history has had in a career.
Wow.
Russ is also continuing to be the NBA's best clutch player this season. He leads the league with 4 go-ahead field goals in the final 10 seconds of games. The performance was enough for Blake Griffin, who tweeted, "Wow, Russ, give that man the MVP." Also Damian Lillard, who dropped 59 himself this weekend. Russ, MVP, bro. Now, LeBron James and Kevin Love didn't take it quite that far, but hey, they did take a moment from this week's Let's Make Cavaliers fans scratch their eyes out tour to mark Russ's accomplishments as well. So that was nice of them. Of course, whether Russ has really made the case for MVP depends on who you ask. Harden, Kawhi, LeBron, they all have their very heated defenders. If we had an MEP, on the other hand, I'm not sure there'd be any contest because as he showed again yesterday, even when he's knocking your team out of the playoffs, Russell Westbrook is this season's most exciting player, hands down. Now, Stax, I know that you are in the Russ MVP camp very firmly. And as I've noted, there have been so many players, current players, Hall of Fame players who are with you. Now, players don't always have the best track record of voting for things.
Right.
We had the vote a couple years ago for MVP. We had the All-Star voting this year. The players did not show themselves in that respect. But why is it so important in this race that we listen to some players? Stump for your case.
Well, as being a professional athlete myself and watching so many basketball games, I've never seen a season so dominant by a player like this in my life. So, and I love the game. You know how much I love the game. So to see something that for the first time in my life that I've never seen done by a player, you have to give him his props. And I think every player in the league understands what he's doing. It's unbelievable. And you have to give props when props due.
Yeah, I mean, the trouble is when you have the degree of difficulty of what he's doing. And it's not a one-game thing. So I always like to say this. If you come to me in October, someone might score 100 in a game or someone might average a triple-double this season. You got to put money on it. What would you put money on? I put 100 in a game because somebody can get hot for one night and have the night of their life. But to do this every single day, that's tough, especially when you consider they're winning in those games. It's not like, so I was at the game in Phoenix where he was trying to break the record. They were down big, and it was kind of ridiculous. That's not the norm, though. The norm is he gets it, and they win because he gets it.
Should the fact that so many players are sort of this tidal wave, should voters who are not players, by the way, or media people, should they take that into account? Or, hey, players don't have the best track record, that's separate?
No, I feel like people should vote how they feel they should vote. You should not be swayed by outside influences.
I mean, Stephen Jackson's pretty convincing.
He is, but only in a room. Like, if I'm not in the same room, I'm like,
And
I'm
you're like,
voting whoever I
I don't care
want.
what he said. Well, we do also have to talk about James Harden because it might not have been as flashy as what Russ was doing last night, but he was on fire yesterday, scoring or having assists on 72 points. I want you to let that sink in. That is insane. If you combine the points he scored with points he's partly responsible for through assists, he's actually producing 59 points per game right now. And, you know, his team is well winning, with both Harden and Rockets GM Daryl Morey say that should matter to MVP voters.
I thought winning was what this was about, period. So I'm not going to get into depth with all that, but I thought winning was the most important thing.
In the NBA, it's too easy to put up round numbers and special numbers up on an average team. If you look at the history of the MVP, it's always gone to, a contending team who's put up, special numbers for that reason.
So, I mean, look, I might also throw in Kawhi Leonard's team has won 7 more games than Harden's Rockets team. I don't know how that falls into their equation, but is it right for James and for Daryl Morey to emphasize winning should matter more to MVP voters?
It's okay. Everyone's going to make their case, right? So that's the strength of their case, is that, well, his numbers aren't quite like Russell's, but we're winning, so that matters more. And I don't have a problem with them saying that. I have a problem with what Daryl Morey tweeted yesterday. He said something along the lines of AAU basketball, the All-Star game. Yeah. I guess winning doesn't matter in basketball anymore. I don't like that. I really don't like that, because now what he's doing is he's cutting to the heart of what our game is about. And I don't like him bashing basketball to make his point.
So, but they're really not saying anything. This guy lost the MVP and still 6th in the playoffs in the West. How was that not winning?
Right.
It's a lot of guys, a lot of teams that are healthy that have all their guys that are not making the playoffs. He lost the MVP and then broke the record for triple-doubles and in the 6th spot. That is winning.
Right.
Everyone has a case. A lot of the analytics people will tell you it is the stats and numbers with Harden that makes his case. So.
Sure, but don't disrespect basketball to make your case. That's
right, exactly.
This, of course, gets spicier when you look at the current playoff seeding and see that guess who's supposed to beat up in the first round right now? The Rockets and the Thunder. Of course, MVP voting will be closed by then, but you know it's going to be Harden versus Russ as they feel to it. I mean, the Thunder are going to be the underdog in seeding, right? They're 1-3 against Houston this year. Stacks, that being said, how dangerous are Russ and the Thunder going into that, if that is the matchup?
I think they're very dangerous for the simple fact that Russ is going to play free. We all know that.
Right.
But what people are not talking about is how much playoff experience that OKC has. They went deep in the playoffs with a lot of those guys on that team, with Steve Adams, with the other big guy, I can't think his name, the best scorer from Utah.
Cantor.
Cantor. He's the best low post scorer from those guys. They have a lot of guys that have a lot of experience. I think they're going to play better than people think in the playoffs.
I respectfully disagree. I think Houston going to mop them. Look, it's nice. Is Russ my MVP pick? Absolutely. But if you ask me right now, you're starting a team. You take Russ, you take Harden? I take Harden. I don't even hesitate on that. I take Kawhi. I don't even hesitate on that.
Right.
And I think we're going to see that difference in the playoffs. Houston is a better team. I think Harden's a better player. And I think Mike D'Antoni's a better coach. They're not going to have too much trouble with the Thunder.
Okay, but then that gets back to the MVP conversation. No, you just sat here and said you were picking Russ.
I'm taking Russ because I respect what he did. Because everyone could say, oh, padding stats, oh, it's just round numbers. All right, so tell me why only 2 people have done it in the history of this game.
Again, I'm just going to say it. We need 2 awards. Best season
and best player. No, we don't.
Yes,
please.
we do. Let's talk about a player who certainly would have been in the MVP conversation if he hadn't been injured, right? Kevin Durant, returning Saturday after missing 19 games. Man, he looked good, guys, striking on the first play of the game. I mean, he finished with 16 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Stacks, do you look playoff ready to you?
I love it. And the thing I love about it is what people are not thinking about. Not only did he have time to heal, but he had time to rest. A player of that caliber going into the playoffs with fresh legs, that's real dangerous. And it gave the old Warriors team that won the championship without him a chance to get back to playing together in the championship form without him. So them coming together now, that was a blessing in disguise for the Warriors.
Yeah, he looked good. It's also not fair for Alexis Ajinça just to be out there on an island. Tim Frazier, I think, was the one that came with the late help.
Right.
Come on, you got to do better. You see your man out there guarding Durant. Everyone's got to come load the weak side.
Yeah, but they have a few other players on that team you might want to stick with defensively. I believe that's the crux of the issue.
Is that why they're going to win the championship out this year?
They have a lot of good players. I'm just saying, they have more than one guy or more than 2 guys, more than 3 good guys.
I can't complain. No.
There we go. We're going to take a quick break.
Yeah, it wasn't a foul on my 6th foul. I knew I had 5, and I knew the ball was going long. So, I grazed Millsap a little bit, but I mean, throughout the course of a game, I didn't push him or anything like that.
How much is the fine for talking about the refs? Is it like 50, 25? Not worth it.
Welcome back to The Jump. You just heard a very critical LeBron James, who apparently does have a little extra cash to spend, and Kyrie Irving, who doesn't think he does, talking about officiating in crunch time during the Cavaliers' collapse against the Hawks yesterday. you know, you can see it here. Kyrie Irving tied up for a jump ball in the fourth quarter. And look, the photos show it. The Hawks were clearly out of bounds, both of them. But still, the Cavaliers were the ones who gave up the 26-point lead. Stacks, if you're a player in that locker room, should you be talking about officiating after a game like that? Or the 26 points is really the key there?
You can't be this close to the playoffs, up 26, planning to win the championship, and blowing games like that at this point of the season. You have to be upset with yourselves. You can't put those referees in that position. But at the same time, you know, the referees, they do make mistakes, but the biggest mistake was blowing a 26-point lead.
Yeah, it seems like.
But, hey, Kyrie, great way to say.
Yeah, there you go.
that was great.
I was gonna
Great job, Kyrie. That was great, Kyrie.
That's smart. You're smart.
You're smart.
Way to diss him without dissing
You're
him.
smart, you support, it's all good.
I see what you're doing there.
I mean, it felt like, you know, what's the line in The Matrix? There is no spoon, right?
Yes.
Watching that game yesterday, it's like there is no switch. I mean, it's hard, right, to now believe that the Cavaliers can change these habits, that it's really the entire second half of the season. They've been blowing these fourth quarter leads. They've been giving up games they've been ahead in.
And again, if you tell me they can flip a switch for the East, I'll believe it.
Okay.
I'll give them the benefit of that doubt. But if you're telling me you're going to go and see, and forget the Warriors, you're going to see the Spurs and do that, they will destroy you. They will rip you limb from limb because that's all they live for is teams that think that they can get it done and fly by the seat of your pants. It's an execution game. We all know what everyone's running. We know the plays. We know the names of the plays. We know all the calls.
Right.
Can you execute? And right now, they're not executing against really weak competition.
Well, you talk about, okay, you're not worried about them getting out of the East.
I am.
Let's talk about seeding for a minute. The Cavaliers are on the second night of a back-to-back tonight against the Heat. They're currently tied for the top spot out East with Boston. Right now, as of this morning, they control their own destiny. If they won out and Boston won out, they would hold the tiebreaker.
Right.
However, we just saw a tweet from Ira Winderman of the Sun Sentinel. This is per the Cavs. Tristan Thompson, out. Kyrie Irving, out. LeBron James, out. Kevin Love, illness, questionable.
I love the excuses they come up with now.
Well, I mean,
Because of Commissioner Silver.
well,
This
and-
is what we feared.
yes, and they played these guys a bunch of extra minutes last night,
Sure.
which they shouldn't have had to because they should not have been blowing a
Right.
26-point lead.
Right.
It all comes back, guys. Stacks, are you cool with them pretty much giving up on the number one seed? I mean, there's still a scenario with Boston. Boston now has to win out to hold on to it, but Boston, if you look at the lineups tonight, it would seem that they are giving Boston control over this thing. The Raptors are locked into the 3 spot.
Right.
Now you're talking about the Cavs potentially, if they're kind of seeding number one, you're talking about maybe a second-round matchup with a very scary Toronto team for Cleveland playing how they're playing right now.
I don't like it, Rach. I don't like it for the simple fact that this is the closest the Eastern Conference has been in a while coming towards the end of the season as far as normally around this time, Cleveland has the number one spot locked in.
Right.
I don't like it. I think they need to fight for that home court because they haven't been playing great basketball. The other teams in the East have gotten better, and they've definitely beaten Cleveland a couple of times, especially teams like Boston. So I think they need to reconsider that and try to get that home court through the playoffs.
Yeah, I feel like they should reconsider it after tonight so that Heat Island can make
Miami,
the playoffs.
of course, Heat Island, of course.
And then, no.
Of course.
I mean, it looks like they've made their decision.
Yeah.
There's not really any reconsidering. There's
No.
2 games left. And look, Boston could help them out. If Boston, even if they beat the Nets tonight, Boston then plays on Wednesday. They play the Bucks, who are
Yes.
still fighting for seeding.
Right.
Cleveland is playing Toronto and possibly a playoff preview.
But also possibly a rest preview.
A rest preview,
I imagine that everybody in that game is going to sit out. By the
both
way,
sides?
On both sides. Because what does Toronto have to play for?
Okay, but if you're Cleveland and you've said everyone tonight, I'm definitely playing all
What,
those
you think-
guys on Wednesday.
Assuming a loss tonight, you think you're going to play for the win on Wednesday?
I would play them at least part of the game because they're not going to play another game until probably, Sunday, right?
Yes.
So
Right.
they're going to have 4 days of rest before the playoffs
Yeah.
start. You want to start getting guys in rhythm again. Plus, you want to keep that psychological advantage you have on the Raptors.
Sure.
They have a better record in head-to-heads on the Raptors
Yes.
this season. And Stacks, as you say, in a 7-game series with the way both teams
Anything
are
can
playing right
happen.
now, anything can happen. I would want that win sort of on my mental tally. I don't
They've
know.
had
I
enough
mean, we've
rest.
got.
By the way, great White Clef song. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. They had enough rest, though. Guys been hurt all year. They've been resting all year.
I would play those guys on Wednesday. It will be interesting to see if Toronto
Toronto
does,
plays,
and then therefore what happens with the
Right.
Bucks and Celtics. So the Cavs could sneak back into that #1 spot. You talk about rhythm. Greg Popovich, the grandfather of rest, the guy who didn't want to pay for the pizza, as you like to
There we
say, he's actually going to play the Spurs.
Now he's buying all
down the
pizzas.
stretch.
That's what this is.
It's amazing. Since that memo came out, he's been like, Mister, they're playing, and they played in the Saturday night game. They're playing down the stretch. But again, his point, and this is why Greg Popovich is such a good coach, you don't just rest all the time or say,
Right.
oh, gee, we're definitely resting at the end of the season. They're not playing a bunch of back-to-backs. And he's like, hey, everyone's going to play. We already rested everybody. Now we do have days off in between. We have to get into that rhythm. And it's kind of like the playoffs. There's no back-to-backs. We're going to get those guys in. If I'm a bunch of these playoff teams coming on Wednesday's game, that's what I would do.
I suppose I feel like Greg Popovich is just the master of the contrarian troll move. Like, oh, everyone's resting. We're playing everybody 40 minutes, and then he's gonna come up
Well,
with.
you know that's not gonna happen.
But still, he's gonna come up with some reasoning behind it. And everyone's like, now what we're gonna see is everyone with the think pieces. Greg Popovich is so smart. Oh my God, this guy's the greatest coach ever. Just like they did when he rested everybody. Now when he plays everybody, everyone's gonna say he's a genius.
Well, I know the reason. I know the reason why. Pop loves to go into the playoffs with a good feeling about his team. Guys playing well, off a win. That's the best way to go in the playoffs. You don't want to go in the playoffs if you guys haven't played in 2 games.
Right.
You want to go into playoffs with feeling good, everybody on the same page, everybody healthy. Guys ain't got their rest. Now it's time to get serious.
There you go. All right, we got to take a break. The NBA regular season wraps up Wednesday on ESPN with the Hawks at the Pacers. Hawks, man. Then the Pelicans take on the Trailblazers at 8 o'clock Eastern. And don't forget to check out Michael Smith and Jamel Hill on SportsCenter. It's called The Six. You should be watching it.
Airline
All
first.
right, our Mark Stein reporting the Mavericks will honor former Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo tomorrow by making him a Maverick for a day. Now, Romo was an all-state basketball player in Wisconsin back in high school.
Oh.
He's going to get to be on the bench. He's going to get to wear a Mavs uniform for the day. Stacks, I know. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, all right, way to
Let's
get me in
see.
there.
Yeah.
Stacks, I know you're a Cowboys
I
fan.
don't trust Mark Cuban behind me like that.
Nah.
So watch out. I don't
That's why you
trust
got that
I
look
don't
on your face.
trust
Like, what's he doing?
How excited are you to see Tony Romo in Mavs gear?
You know,
on the
this
bench?
is probably the best thing Mark Cuban has ever done since he's been an owner to me. Is bringing my Cowboy quarterback Romo and letting him hoop for a day.
You know what? Stop crying now.
Great
Yeah,
job,
right?
Cuban. I like it. Mark Cuban, go out there and get you 15 if they let you play, man.
He's not T.O. He's not going
Yes,
to start
he's
weeping.
a quarterback. No, look, I'll be honest. A lot of people are like, this is a disgrace. Da, da, da. I said, look, there was a time when
I'm
Master
not
P.
going to let him play.
I'm just saying, there was a time when Master P was in preseason games, whatever. Like, at least this guy was a good player. Karan Butler vouches for him. Here's a picture from high school. I think they played in the same AU team together.
That
So-
photo is amazing, by the
It
way.
is.
Right.
Yeah, look at the looks in their faces.
Shout out
Look
to
at the
Karan.
determination.
Great.
But the truth be told, this is really cool. It's cool.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
And by the way, the Mavericks ain't making the playoffs, so you got to do something to get people.
Right.
Yeah,
involved.
like
Right.
poor sport theater people, they gotta
Yeah.
go. This is
This is an outrage.
yeah. There's a lot of going on in this country right now. That's an outrage. This isn't it. All right, let's go to make or miss, people. Make hope. Top prospect Markelle Fultz said it would be quote amazing if he were drafted by the Knicks.
man.
Is this? I mean, amazing can mean a lot of things to me.
Yeah, you can lose an amazing amount of games.
Yeah. No, you know, I'll tell you what, he's amazing at doing the political thing. You're doing it at like a second-year level right now. You know, you're already a pro.
Okay, but is this a case really where you should be going the other way? Like instead of trying to butter a team up, you should be like skipping the workout and being like, don't draft me?
You say all the right things now, and then when we get to like pre-draft workouts, then that's when you switch things up.
All right. We got missed comebacks. Dwayne Wade returned to the Bulls yesterday, but it was a disappointing loss overall for the team. Big deal, Steven, that this happened? Do you think he just needs to work his way in?
Yeah, I mean, hey, he's an all-star, man. They need this guy. They're not playing well. Throw him out there and let him do what he can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me just say this. Unnamed sources from unnamed teams told me when he got hurt, they were like, no, they're going to start winning now.
Come on.
I'm telling you.
Make Knicks. Oh, Kicks. We already did the Knicks. These are the Kicks. The internet has not been kind.
Ooh.
Again,
Wow.
to these new Steph Curry shoes. How do we feel?
Shout out to Zach Harper, said Steph Curry came out with the PT Cruiser for your feet. Yeah.
That's
Come on,
horrible.
make buckets. Damian Lillard, a franchise 59 franchise record, 59 points for the Blazers.
My boy.
It secured the 8th spot in the West. I mean, Guys, he wasn't an all-star, might not make an all-NBA team. This is just bad luck. I mean, he's playing in the best guard era the NBA's ever seen.
He's underrated. He's underrated. I
think
sent him a shout out on Instagram. Gay game, bro.
You know what? Shout out to him. Scored a franchise record, a career high.
No assists.
Don't do that.
I mean, no turnovers.
Took the game ball, gave it to Joe Johnson, who scores 20,000 points. Really classy.
I wouldn't have felt good about Joe. I wouldn't have